Hi, it's Lyle from Made by Marley. Welcome back to our channel. Do you want to create something really amazing? Today I am going to be decoupaging. I'm going to be using one of the new papers from our new release, and I'm going to be showing you lots of different ways to use decoupage to really create something that is unique. So this is the piece for today. It's a refectory type piece of furniture. It's not an air call, although they are my absolute favourite. This came my way, and unfortunately this beautiful piece of furniture was going free. If not, it was going to landfill. It's got a couple of shelves, 2 drawers at the top, here, and 2 cupboards. Now, why am I talking and filming at the same time? Because Martin's on a jolly. So Daisy's going to start filming me when I put the camera down and we start. Because today is going to be, because of the new release, a Made by Marley decoupage piece. So I'm just going to get set up. So we're going to have some funky camera angles because Daisy's on the camera, but it's just until Martin comes back from his jolly. He'll say it's not jolly, but it is. I'm going to be using the new paper, which is Moonstruck, which is the one with the moons and the dragonflies on it. Yeah? Now, everybody knows the job we Made by Marley decoupage paper, but I'm going to just run through it quickly before I do a whole load of pieces and parts, because you're not missing anything. You've seen it all many times before, but if you're new to Made by Marley decoupage paper, well, this will help. So I'm basically just going to put pieces and parts all over the furniture and then blend it all in with paint. So that's the kind of system first. There's lots of things going to happen to it after that, but that's the sort of drill. So when you buy Made by Marley decoupage paper, you generally get 2 focals. So that's these one with the bigger dragonflies, and 1 drawers. But it's not going to be much use for ours because my drawers are really textured, so but we'll make it work in a different way, and that's the good thing about it. I've got 2 sets because it's a really big piece. First of all, I want to look at this to make sure, and this is a good way of doing it. I want to try and get the dragonflies on this border. So I am going to literally kind of just bend this like this, and this is, I'm cutting it with scissors because I'm going to cut it a little bit bigger because I can sand it off the excess. But I think this, now I want to keep a hold of any of these because I want to use this border later on. So let's just have a wee look at this again and just kind of try and bend it. It's a rounded surface, which means it's not easy to kind of bend a shape into. Getting this, Daisy? Right, let's see if I can cut this out from this side. I think probably what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut it much wider than it is. So first of all, I'm going to glue strips along here. So let's just get one on just so you know the concept of Made by Marley decoupage paper. Before I started, I had a soft cloth, but it's always the same. You don't need to follow me, Daisy. You're used to me jumping around. It's your dad. Your dad has quite a job. Now, okay. So you're applying your glue, but remember it's Made by Marley decoupage paper, and so there's not a lot of steps, but this part is really important. The application of glue. You want it nice and smooth, like that, lovely and smooth. Now, because I'm going to be sanding the edges, let's just take it slightly up over that edge and slightly into this edge. Paper. Let's just, I want to try and get the dragonflies on it and rub it with a soft cloth like that. And then we are just literally going to leave that alone and move on to our next strip. So I'm going to put this all around here, and I'm going to put strips down the side. And I am going to, see, Daisy's a busy girl, so she hasn't got all day like Martin has to just hang about and film me at willy-nilly. I mean, she's got life and she's got books to read before she goes back to school. So I'm kind of jumping as much as I can at this stage. Martin will be home some point today, so what I'm going to do is, because I still need the ones that's more the sort of drawer paper, the smaller form dragonflies to finish this part up here, and I know I've got an extra sheet of that, so we're good. Next thing, my concept is going to be a little bit like this. I want all of the borders, but I want to keep the dragonflies, but I want to rip this now because I want to blend paint. If you're doing edges, cut it and sand it. If you're doing blending, rip it. It's much easier to blend. So I'm just kind of ripping out the pattern, but I'm keeping the decoupage, the dragonflies in the centre. I like that because I'm wanting them later on for the design. It's just all the fancy edge patch that I'm looking for right now. I'm keeping the moons on there as well because I might be able to do something with them. Oh, I've gone off on a tangent, Daisy, look at me. Your dad would be laughing by now. He's used to this. Right, okay, so I should have probably, which I normally do, tell you straight away to rip off the white edges, but I didn't do that, so let's just get them now. Because you won't want them in your design. Now once I've got the sort of kind of the leftovery parts, these are going to form where I'm going up and around the edges. So I'm going to put these, sorry this is very laborious. Take that and get rid of this white edge here. I'll deal with this side in a minute. So it's square, this is round. So let's try and work on the square parts first. So I'm going to take that to about here and I'm going to apply this part on here. I think you'll soon get what I'm actually trying to achieve. I'm trying to achieve a border all the way in the inside using the ripped edges but keeping the dragonflies because they're going to come back into the centre. Now what colour predominantly I'm going to be doing this piece? A really dark blue because that will all match, and then the colours I'm going to be using are a cream because there's cream in it, a light green because there's light green in it, a yellowy sort of grey beige, and a blue, a lighter blue. So that's the sort of colours. Right, okay, glue is applied. Now, I want to try and get it into the edge if I can. Oh, hang on a minute, I'm going to bring that down if I want this along here. There we go. Now, if you've never seen me do this before, you're probably freaking out thinking this isn't going to be good, but I promise it will all come together. I want this part here because I'm going to put this here. It's obviously the piece with the white edge, that's the way it always goes. You okay, Daisy? Mm-hmm. Right, okay. Let's get this edge in here like this. Oh, yeah. Take that excess off. Give these both a rub. Write that down. All the way around, all this edge, all the way around here. I'm just going to do this pattern. I'm going to get Daisy to come back after that and we'll do down the bottom section because I don't want to jump too far ahead. But that's all I'm going to do right now. Okay, so what have I done? I put the dragonflies around here. Now, obviously, this edge here has to be sanded. So, and I've put my pieces and parts, my strips, and where I've got paper underneath there, I've also done the sides to here. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you what I did with these cupboards here because I've done it on this side here, and Daisy's going to film me starting to blend this section here. So I know that if you're not sure how to apply Made by Marley decoupage paper, it is really this simple. You make sure your glue is smooth and there's no big ridges in your glue because that can give you wrinkles and bubbles. So you don't want that. So you need your paper to be smooth and then
Sorry, your glue to be smooth, not your paper. Daisy, you need to correct me. Dad normally corrects my mistakes as we go.
My apologies. I'm a bad cameraman.
Camera lady. Anyway, then you just apply your paper. Now, to save me opening up any more sheets, I'm just kind of making do with what I've got. So I've got another one that I can put in here that makes this similar, and I'll find 2 other patterns out of my pieces and parts to make this pattern here. These are just the borders again. So imagine I've got all of this onto here. Let's just run through paint colours. What we're using today, I have, no, that's not what I was looking for. I have Oxford Navy, which I've got in here at the moment. I have Greek blue. I have the black if I need it. I've got a little bit of Provence just to maybe lighten my blue up a bit. And I've got Old Ochre, which is a cream. These are my sort of colours. What is my intention? My intention is to do I think I want to do something unusual, and I want to do the dark blue around the edges moving out to cream. So let's just kind of look at here and see how we're going to do that. So I've already got my blue here, and I'm just going to pop some of the Old Ochre on my mix mat. I've got some smaller brushes as well, just in case I'm going to need them. So let's get on with getting. Daisy, are you able to film this side here, Daisy? Right, so you don't need to be too close, Daisy, but just, can they see what I'm doing? Right, okay, I'm just going to eradicate that dragonflies. Now, I knew this wasn't going to be quite right, the colour, so I'm going to, as I go along, put a little bit of Greek blue in this just to mix it through. So it's a kind of, what will we say, a stipply blend. Now, hopefully if I get this right, I might only need to do 1 coat because it's so dark, but we'll see. This is why I've got other little brushes here, because they won't be able to get into these edges, and these edges are really important, and we need plenty of paint. I'm looking for a sort of kind of moonlit kind of, there's stars in the paper as well. See little gold stars. So I'd like to, and there's this gold pattern in the background, so I'd like to kind of get to that if I could. So I really want it a little bit darker around these edges. And up round here maybe. I'm just going to blend up beside this border, right to the edge of the border. My brush is very small at this stage. Let's just kind of put a little bit more dark around here. Run that along here. And this is just a matter of having fun with your paint now. I need to go back to the big one. Put this other blue in. Now this is where I want to start the transition into the cream. So this should be interesting. Let's see how this all works out. It might not, and I might change my mind, but let's see. I'll just start with this and see what happens. I would quite like some of the wood kind of coming through in the cream. So now at the moment it's a very marked line. So let's just kind of see what I can do with the in-between line. I should have had another brush with me. Don't. Let's grab this one. Oh, grab this one. And this one here I'm going to use as a neutral brush. And can you still see the dark? Because I'm trying to kind of, it's not quite a cream. I'm trying to get a sort of dark sort of kind of through my cream. So, and I want some of the wood shining through as well. So that's all I'm going to do with my neutral brush. I'm just going to make it quite cloudy. So I am going to do this. Finish this decoupage paper, and I am going to do the whole front with this cloudiness. Up inside there, I'm just going to be doing the blue with no cloudiness, and all the rest will be done sort of the blue colour, but I want the blend and the sides to look like they've all been done. Okay, back in a minute. Okay, I'm just going to give you a wee quick look at the blend, because I didn't do the sort of blending it all out to white. I decided to do a kind of blend of the colours all the way, kind of just running through it. So this is the side I'm moving on to, and it's going to be a paler side. So Daisy's just going to film me while we do this, just so you know what I'm doing, just so you know what the base is for this piece of furniture. Okay, so sorry Eddie, what I've done is, you can see it's just kind of evolved from dark to light, and I just want to kind of show you again. It's just that I don't want to get the whole base on and you go, well, didn't really see much of this. I haven't got two sections here right now because I still haven't cut them out, but I decided just to put the blend on first. I can go back in it and go round them. So you still need your little brush, and you still need all the same colours as before. But now I've got an Abuson blue. I think I've been kind of using that, kind of alternating between that and the old ochre, and obviously the blue. So let's kind of see if this is blue. Let's kind of go in a dark patch here. Don't know why I'm using such a small brush. That's ridiculous, isn't it? I've already started to do up the top with this, because I'm just going to do all sides with this, kind of alternate between the dark and light. That's it, Daisy, you show them. You're doing very well. No, that's it. You show them. I was meaning to show them. So Daisy's just kind of showing you. I was just wanting to see how it was going to look. I know I'm kind of jumping about this week. It's just because Martin's not here, and he's the person that kind of orchestrates where everything, how it all gets put together. So I think he'll have a fit when he comes back and he says that I've just gone rogue. But that's okay. I'm allowed to. So I'm just putting some darker shades in here, and then we're going to go to our Abuson blue, which is here. Now I've got some details to go into here, so I'm just going to kind of put that in first, and then I'm going to start, because I'm going to do kind of lighter shades moving down. I want a little bit of the white on here, and I'm just kind of like, you will need probably some water on your brush to make this move. But anywhere where it's really, really cream, I did kind of run over it again. Like, see here, I did it twice with the cream just to make sure. But I like this sort of wood. Can you see the wood kind of slightly showing through? I think this here really complements what's behind here. It kind of gives it a little bit of a warmer tone, which I was quite liking. So I was just trying not to kind of like, you know, do away with too much of the kind of wood. Now, remember when you're blending Made by Marley decoupage paper, that you have to kind of go right up to the edge if you're just putting pieces and parts on. So I'm just going to do this here. Just start lightening this up. Remember things like all your seams down these edges. That's quite important. You get all that. I'm not at the perfect angle for this, but I'll do the bits I can see on camera. Now I'm going to start going in here with the lighter shades. Eddie's decided to come and lie down. Yeah, Daisy and I are just doing our own thing today. Matty would say, no, Eddie will just jump around. He's got to stay over in the house. But we're like, let's just take Eddie with us. He likes to be involved. Oh, you're being such a good boy. And you're showing off my furniture very nicely. So into the cream again. Oh, I don't have any of the paper in this one, so I'm just going to kind of, I can do that with this. And really, I just said to Daisy in the kitchen, I thought, I'm going to show them this again just so that you know. But it's just a whole load of mingling until you get what you're looking for. And then when you get to what you're kind of looking for, that's when you stop you're just kind of feathering it after that, just so that you're just kind of mingling it by itself. I think I want quite a sort of creamy part here on this edge. But that's all I'm literally doing. And that's all I'm doing on the whole dresser. Now there's a whole lot to happen yet. This is just the kind of base. I'm just getting the base coat down. That's me dipped in the Abuson blue. That gives a whole different shade of the kind of blues as well, which is quite nice. And the best way, I think, to deal with things like this is to just, it takes a bit of time to do this, but just to kind of go around it until you're really happy with what you've got put down. Now I can see I'm not happy with this edge in here. What I did do with the other side with these wings, these dragonfly wings, I got rid of them just so that it made more sort of context. So I will get on now that I'm sure that you've got this part and I'm not just skipping over things that aren't important, because I mean, Made by Marley can be put on in so many different ways. If you're not somebody who wants to do blending right up to it, just put it in your apertures, do your drawer fronts. It's so simple, and it gives your furniture an instant lift just with that colour pop, and paint your furniture. There's no problem with that. But if you want to take your furniture art to a whole new level, then get into applying and then putting your paint up beside it and mixing and matching it. Because I've actually done, I mean, I don't think, I've already kind of fussy cut some of the moths out. Now I lost a little bit of the wing, but I wasn't going to use any more paper. I mean, I know it's my paper and I can print more, but I thought, no, because you need to know how many sheets it takes to do a dress of this size, how many sets. And so far, it's taken about 1.5 sets. So you need to know that. But I was thinking there's so many more things that I'm going to do to this. So this is just really kind of getting, I quite like this sort of denim-y look, because this colour here complements this part in the decoupage paper. And that's the things you've got to look for. Just complementing things out so that it works. I'm going to get on. I'm now going to paint the whole dresser now, just in this sort of look. The up at the top on the back of the dresser, I didn't go too much with the white, because what I'm going to plan to do is I plan to do a big moon. I'm planning to kind of enlarge what's on my decoupage paper on the back of the dresser. All the art is going to be up in the back. Now, I know I always say, you don't want them too busy for storage, but I think I'm going to kind of try and keep it not too busy, but busy enough that I like it. So I'll be back shortly. Oh, right. Okay. This is done. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit of mental kind of gymnastics to put this all together. So how do I do it with Made by Marley paper? Well, obviously I designed the paper, so I know what layers have gone into and what parts I've done or designed to go into the paper. So I think what we need to do is, first of all, there's a little gold sort of detail in the back. Now I don't have anything as fine as that. I have plenty of stamps, and I think really I would want to stamp it because stamping will make it slightly finer. The only problem is the stays on gold is it's quite a synthetic looking gold. We'll get to that in a minute. So stays on for that. What else was I looking at? So I think I discounted this one. I thought this shape here was kind of like this shape here, but just the center. So we could take that off and use that. This leaf here, same as this leaf here. So, and I've got it in a smaller version, so we'll see if we can try and make that work. Don't know where these came from. World of Stencils, it says, and it's obviously something that I've cut up. So that's that. This one here, I don't want the whole stencil, but it does look very deco, and it is quite a deco looking piece with, obviously, it's a bit of everything, this one, but I thought maybe just taping this part off here, maybe for some sides. And this was my second choice, which was going to be with the gold, and I would use gold paint to put this detail on the back, because I thought I could just do some of it here and there. There's that. And this is the actual stamp that I'm going to pick. It's nothing like what we've actually got, but I thought we'd give it a whirl out and see. So they're the kind of stamps. What else you're going to need? I'm going to try and copy this green leaf, but I'll do a raised stencil for this. So we'll mix up a green and we'll mix up some clay to get a raised stencil for this, but that won't be going on right now. So the first thing we need to do, because just look at it, the decoupage paper like on your furniture, like you look at the paper, look at the layers on the furniture. So we need this detail, the gold detail on it first. However, once we've done gold details, what I've done is what I had left over in my paper, I got that.
Gold detail that you're talking about. Ah, there we go.
Yeah, see it?
Yeah.
So what I did at the end with what I had left over was cut up that shape there into 2 halves. This is going to be used on the top. The big dragonflies that I managed, some of them haven't got the end, the tail part, because it was the way that I ripped out the paper, but I thought I can just paint that in. I'm not going to worry about that. Dragonflies. More of those little squares. Triangles. By the way, yesterday, Matt is back, by the way.
I'm back.
I forgot to say Matt's back. It's so much better when Matt's here. But yesterday I kept calling the dragonflies moths. They are dragonflies. Just, you have to just read between the lines. Daisy did an excellent job, but I'm glad Matt's back because he can tell me, he always knows if I'm saying the wrong things and making up words. So
Yeah, because apparently I was on a jolly yesterday. A jolly that involved 9 hours of driving.
It was for himself. It was for car parts. What you don't know about Matt is Matt naturally, he has a hobby, and his hobby is he does up cars, and he's got a little convertible at the moment, and he needed a car door for it, and he had to go miles to get the car door and the bonnet. So he went to do that yesterday for his little convertible, which I can only drive an automatic, so it's absolutely no use to me because it's manual. Sad times.
Sometimes,
I think it would be really nice if I had a little cheeky wee convertible, but he's not for doing it. He does up some really nice cars.
I could have had them posted, but they took me so long to find these parts that yeah, it's true.
So I
wasn't going to risk it, so I had to go get them.
I've got these as well, which I cut off the edges, and I think I'm going to do something like, once I've got the gold on, something like this to finish these parts off. Always with Made by Marley, if you're ripping out, make sure that you see what's left over and fussy cut it. It's the type of paper, not only can you decoupage paper, but you can fussy cut. The old-fashioned fussy cutting way brings out really good layers, and it really makes your furniture come together. That's just what I'm saying there, right? There's a whole load of talking, Matt, and you're back.
Do you talk more when I'm here, do you?
Well, Daisy doesn't have the patience to sit, and she just sits down and then goes, am I done? And goes away again. So I'm like, all right, okay. I feel like I rocketed through this yesterday. So I did the blend yesterday. You saw me do it a couple of times. It's just a whole load of blues and dark blues to mix it all together. I did get rid of the wings of the dragonflies here, and I might put a wee bit of detail in here. So it's all been done. I showed you yesterday that the sides have been decoupaged, and I put the decoupage paper in these apertures this morning because you don't need to see me doing that. Okay, so now we're getting to all of the good fun parts, the hard parts. So let's have a wee crack at this gold and we'll see what we think. If this doesn't work, give it a good shake, then I'll revert to the stenciling option. Now with this gold, you put it on like this, and it comes with a little handy dandy thing that you scrape into it, but that handy dandy thing has escaped me.
It's long gone.
Well, no, it was around for a while, but now I don't know where it is. It's just gone. I think that it's a funny one, the gold one. See what I mean? It's quite a synthetic gold, so we'll see if we like it. Now, oh goodness, I've lost the stamp. Oh, stamp on a hard surface. Now, I don't want this to look perfect, but I think there's a bit much gold on this. Let's start over here. So I'm not even kind of like stamping with it, if you know what I mean. I'm just kind of going to try and get a sort of pattern, something for underneath. It's just to add texture and a little bit of interest. Don't really like that, but I think there's going to be something going over that, so I'm not too worried. There's a part that keeps making a messy mess. Not sure, Mark, what are you thinking? I actually don't find it too offensive. No. It's just the problem will be when we go to use the other gold, which is the nice gold. And if I put gold leaf on it, it really will be like loads of different golds, and I don't want that.
So be sparing with that.
Yeah, I just need a little bit just to set the scene. And as you can see, I'm not really stamping with it. It's just giving it something.
I did have a nice day yesterday.
I did. He said it was a nice trip.
It was nice weather. The windows open, getting a suntan while I was driving along, listening to what I wanted to listen to.
What was it? Radio boring?
No,
Bet it was.
no.
Bet it was some debate on electronic.
I was listening to some banging tunes.
I listen to banging tunes.
Yeah, banging tunes. So loud that my speakers started to distort. That's how loud it was.
Oh, what a boomer. Anywho, I was really worried about him yesterday, I've got to admit, because it's the Decoupage launch this week and we have worked like Trojans all week, and I was really scared of him driving all that way because he came to bed at like 4 o'clock in the morning and he said he was leaving at 5. I thought he was only going to get an hour's sleep, but he got a few more hours and then he drove off. And I said, if you're tired, pull over. And he got all the lectures.
Yeah, I got my safety lecture before I left.
Just, you know. Right, I think that is...
Turned out I wasn't tired at all. I had a lovely day.
I'm going to, obviously, anything I do in this door, I'm going to repeat on that door. So I'm thinking that this looks quite good. I'm going to do this round the edges of, see these side edges, the square edges here that you can see. I'm going to do that gold on there as well. I might need to find something a little bit larger for the back part. Once this is dry, I am going to be... I had it a minute ago. What did I do with them? This is a day of me not knowing where everything's gone. Oh, I'm looking for the long ones of...
Yeah.
Oh, see? This is why I keep you around. So I'm going to be gluing these on here, and I might do this one this way. What am I doing? I have them both the same. Why am I doing this? This way and this way. Yes. Yes, that is the key here. So I'll be doing that and that on this side. I'm going to leave the drawers right now because this could potentially get quite busy, because once these have gone on here and here, I'm going to come back when the gold is dry and do a raised stencil. So that'll be up next, but I just don't want to do it yet because this takes a bit to dry. Then we're going to move up to the top. We're going to put our gold up in the top and we are going to do the artwork first. Any painting that I want to do, we're going to do that. Then we're going to be putting on the gold detail at the background. Then we're going to be putting our fussy cut, and then we're going to finish off all the wee bits that we've cut out. So there's still quite a lot to do, but we'll crack on and we'll get this done. Now we're going to get on to some stencil work. So I've done my gold, and I did this pattern, and I had two kind of, they don't quite match, but I'm all right with it as a whole. So it's starting to come together quite nicely. So in this bag, I've got a little bit of kaolin clay. I'm just going to mix up as a kind of thicker paint for a raised stencil. It's a new one, so I haven't cut it. Now, you want it quite thick. So that's going to be mighty thick. Right, I'm adding some old ochre, which is a cream, and I'm adding some Antibes green, just a little touch, and just a tiny touch of this blue. Oh, that was maybe more touches than I actually needed. Right, let's mix this up. Oh, I think I'm going to have to put a whole more quantity. I think it's all clay and not enough. I need some for up the top, so I'm not too bad, but let's just do that again. I'm trying to get to that sort of
which colour?
This colour here. Now it's cooler bag. Green would probably have been perfect, but mine's is over sitting in my kitchen work surface. So
would you want to get it?
No, just use this. It's just the same deal. If you think it's too greeny, then what you can do is, because mine's is slightly off, is add a little bit more of your blue. Now, this is just a matter of getting to the consistency that you want it to be. You don't want it too thick, but you don't want it too thin either. And this right now is a little bit thick, so pop a little bit of this in it. And this will save you fortunes. All of that relief paste that all these companies buy, and texture paste and everything else, it's just this really. Although kaolin clay, I've got to be honest, a little bit goes a long way.
It does. That's a new bag. The one you had before, you've had for ages.
And I use it a lot, but you don't need that much. Now I can see that's a little bit thick. I'm just going to add a little bit more cream. Right, that is, I think, exactly what I'm looking for stencil with. Now, if you're not going to use this straight away, put a wet cloth over the top of it. Keep it moist, or just spray it with your mister. Oh, if you're not going to use it straight away, because I am going to use that in a minute, but I just want to mix that up first. And can I just say at this point, Injector, feel free to leave me a comment on this, but I am decided in my infinite wisdom that I am going to grey. So when you see close-ups of my head and you can see all the white bits in my hair, I'm going grey. I always say I'm going grey, and then I never go grey. But this time I'm not going to put any more red into it, and I thought I'm going to go grey. It's going to be a long drawn out process, and when my white roots get to about here and the rest is red, I don't know how I'm going to look, but I'm hoping that it'll be into the winter and I can put a hat on. Okay, so that's just a hair announcement. If you think I shouldn't go grey, leave me a comment. If you think I should go grey, then leave me a comment.
Yeah.
Leave me a comment. Wells here.
I like the red. What does everybody else think?
Martin prefers it red. I just can't be bothered keeping on colouring it all the time. And I just think my roots come through with all the lights above me all of the time. It looks like I'm going bald because this is all white and I don't like the light shining on it. So I think just eradicate the problem and just go grey, but then it'll be horrible for a while. But anyway, that's just my hair. If you're new to this channel, I do this. I mean, it's a whole thing.
Segue.
Yeah, it's a segue from one thing to another. Now, what I've got here is on my mix mat is a little bit of the old ochre, a nice big stencil brush, a piece of cardboard to offload on, and I've taped this off. Good top tip if you're new to my channel, if you've never seen me do this, it just saves a whole load of mess. And sometimes I don't bother if it's a sort of distressed finish I'm looking for. I don't mind all those little parts, but I want to keep it reasonably tidy. So the first thing I'm going to do is my sides of my drawers. I probably won't go any further than that. And yes, I just went over the top of the last one. It should be fine. Am I liking this, or is it too flowery looking? I don't dislike it. That I'm going to repeat the same thing over there with that. And this line down here, same deal. Got this Art Deco stencil. Now this is from, I've got this stencil is, I think it's a House of Mendes stencil by Posh Chalk. I'm not 100% sure. I've never actually used it on furniture, so it's been sitting over there for quite some time. I was looking forward to using it, and then I didn't like, well, I'm not going to, it just wasn't my jam. So, right, I think this is going to give us the sort of Art Deco look that I'm looking for down the side. So I'm going to do that all the way down this side, all the way down that side, this here. Oh, so we know that.
What was the last this here? Where was the last this here?
This here.
Oh, right, sorry.
And here.
Yeah.
And here and here. I'm just making sure that you know where you can keep up, because I really want to get to the top, because there's going to be quite a bit to do up the top. Now, raised stencils. I'm unsure of this, how this stencil is going to work. I was just saying to Marty, it's a very poor quality stencil actually. I like my stencils quite rugged, so let's start with this side and I'll flip it for the, what are you saying? What are you laughing at me? What my style? I like my stencils like I like my men.
Rugged.
Rugged. Oh dear. He's back. I had nobody to mess around with yesterday because Daisy's not for messing. She's just for doing the job and then going away again. And so I had a whole day of audiobooks by myself, which was nice. It was very chilled. Martin can whip me up into a frenzy really easy, you see, so. Right. And this is going to be the raised stencil. Now I'm going to have to flip it at this side. I just want to get that leaf, because I think it's important to kind of give everything a little nod to the decoupage paper. Raised stencils, you either really like them or you really don't. I mean, is it really adding particularly much to this at this point? No, I could have just did it in green, but I just thought I'd show you if you've don't know how to do raised stencils. And the kaolin clay in your medium, in your paint, is an absolute win-win, because it's so much more reasonable than buying all of these things. And I've tried all those other things, so I'm giving you the right advice, because this is pennies compared to it. Right, okay, I'm loving my work, loving my life. I'm going to go on and do this. I might do this little green part down here as well. The only problem is it's very, sounds funny, it's very groovy up here with the grooves of the furniture. And so really, if I was doing it down there, I would want to do it up here, but I think it's just, it's not going to be wide enough, so I'll probably just leave well enough alone. So I'm going to do my cream edges, drawers, and that. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing on the sides, the gold, the stencil, the raised stencil, just the same deal, just so you know you're not missing out. Okay, so what I did was I used that sort of Art Deco leaf just to go around where the transition is. And I'll just show you that one more time. This is a terrible stencil. So some of my, you really need a good quality stencil if you're going to be doing a raised stencil. This one here is pretty poor. But this is the bit here that keeps lifting. The more I've used it, the more I've thought, oh, what a silly thing to do. It was just the nearest to what I had to the design. Never mind, Martin. We will rectify that, won't we?
We will rectify that. We are in the process of rectifying that.
Yes, we are. Right. See, I've had to tidy these ones up already. So I'll get to tidying that one up in a minute. But it displeases me greatly. Never mind. Okay, next. What do I need next? Next, I need a plate. So you've got options. I mean, I'm going to do sort of like kind of recreate. You could have it centered, or you could have it. I always like things either slightly to the left or slightly to the right or to the left. But I think with this, I think I might just do the moon kind of about here. I haven't put the gold on yet because I'm not entirely convinced about that yet, because there's going to be stars on this part.
I wondered what the dinner plate was for.
Did you?
I got a message to say, I'm ready for you, Martin. Come back over. I'd like a clean mix mat and a plate, please. Dinner plate. I was like, okay.
I was going to write after the message, I'm thinking of a new costume, but then I thought, oh, I'm not even going to be time to be silly. I haven't got the time. Right, I need a brush to paint this in. I just picked these up from over there. These will do. Right, okay, so let's proceed with caution. If you're good at drawing circles, then obviously you can just do this yourself. Now, I don't want to fill this in too much because I'm relying on having some of the dark underneath it. Bit yellow. And that's just tilting I'm adding. Need to go down into this groove. The trick is to try and get it something similar to the little ones. I've got a little bit of cocoa as well, which is sort of beigey brown. So you get the gist. I'm going to be painting in my moon. You don't need to see me paint the whole of the moon in, but I think this is not pleasing me. I need a blending brush is going to be much more appropriate, I think, for this job I'm doing.
Do you want to come back in a minute when it's done?
I will do. I just want to try and show them a little bit quicker than what was actually happening there. So you get it. I'm just kind of mixing my colours till I get something that's kind of like the moon on the paper. So I'm going to do this. I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so I've painted in the moon. I have to come back up here with Mod Podge for the frayed edge where I sanded because it was going round an edge and it wasn't a straight edge like the top, which makes it nice. So we're going to have to come back and give this another coat and do something over there, over this edge, which we will do, but it's already looking quite nice, that part. Right, so I've got some gold on my Martin, that's it. Gold on my mix mat, and now I'm just gonna, I decided instead of the erratic sort of front part, because we're looking for something underneath, I'd make a bit more of a feature of some gold, because then that leaves the door open for me later if I want to do some more. This is a really old stamp of mine, and it's not always the best. Sometimes it does a really good job, and other times it's debatable. It's kind of molten, it's plastic at the back as well, so You can see it all on my shelf. You just have to live with the molten. Right, okay.
Maybe I should try and get a replacement.
It's not one I use very often. I used to use it an awful lot, but yeah. So you see, I'm not trying again to have it absolutely solid, because what I don't want at the end of this is for this gold to detract from everything else. It is just here and no more. That is why we're just kind of doing this, making sure that I'm not even touching all of it, just kind of bits and parts there, and it's still molten. Da-da-da. Fab, and we'll put another little bit just on this edge here. Down. Try not to touch against that stencil and maybe apart. I'm just winging it now, Maren.
I can see that.
You can see that. Right, okay, do the same. I'm going to be doing the same on the bottom. I'm going to be brushing where my stamp has molted. And then what we're going to do next is I'm going to start fussy cutting. I've got the fussy cuts. I'm sorry, Martin, I'm looking around because I'm looking for a brush that I have my brush that normally cleans these up, but I'll just get rid of that. It's just the plastic off the back of the Redesigned by Prima stamps. I don't know if you've ever had it. I think with the older ones, they kind of molt a little bit. So let's just I don't want to go too close into that gold, but that was unsightly, Martin.
That was.
I'll get down there in a minute. Let's just focus up on here. I'm just trying to step back a minute to see. I think this isn't heavy enough. If I step back slightly, I can see. So I'm just going to do it again, because that's basically how I roll. Just want it more of a kind of solid edge that I've got at the other side. Ah, that's better. Now I want to do the same. Do I want to? No, I don't want a row up on here. Right, let's start applying. I'm just going to... No, you shouldn't really do that, but I'm going to. Let's start applying some of these dragonflies up the top. Oh, I didn't dry my brush. A top tip if you're using a lot of Mod Podge, but you're not going to be going back to it for a while, is soak your brush in water like I've done, but now my brush is absolutely soaking. Now, product placement, wherever you want. That's the good thing about Made by Marley decoupage paper. You can really basically make it up as you go along. And I haven't really planned this part. I would have just thought at the end I would do something like this. Although I'm not really quite near the end yet. Stick. Right. Fabulous. Now, maybe what a different sized one. Yeah. Oh, whoopsie. That's wrong. It's not a wrong or right thing. My sealer will cover it up, but I don't want a whole load of Mod Podge on the furniture. Right. That's you on. Where's your little thing? Right, and maybe I've got loads of the dragonflies. Well, I've got quite a few, so I'm thinking maybe one. No, I don't want too central. Maybe coming down this way. Here. You just have to kind of decide. Remember, positive, negative spaces. I think your eye kind of makes its mind up what's right and what's wrong with it as you go, or mine's kind of does. I'm just putting that over the top of the gold as well, so I have to be kind of careful there. I think you understand what I'm doing. I am sticking on my fussy cuts onto the back. The reason why I'm kind of doing it is having to it's one of those ones you have to keep stepping back on. Oh, I think maybe a half one here. I can see there's a little bit here that's not. At the end, when you use your decoupage paper, you need to do all your checks before sealing. You need to make sure it all is glued down. There's no loose edges, because you don't want to get to a customer and it's like that. You have to fix it as you go. So if you just do your last check to make sure that it's all all stuck down. It's never coming back off. Now, I think you can see what I'm doing. I'm not going to labour the point anymore on these dragonflies. I'm going to stick the dragonflies on here, put the gold down there. What I did do with the same brush that I had to do the moon, I just did this and ran it down this edge, and I'm going to do the same on this edge here. Just kind of, I think it just makes it look more finished, and it gives it a little bit of it kind of frames it out. So I've got that side there to do. Yes, we're cracking on now. Things I've still got left to do. I've got stars to do. I want to maybe incorporate a little bit more gold, I'm thinking. And I really need to deal with this. There's a drop off to nowhere here, and that is not pleasing me. So I need to try and make the gold stencil go into here, and then that won't look so silly, because right now it just goes boo 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 boo, nothing. Okay. Okay, so my little triangle shapes that I cut out, I checked. Do you know what? Believe it or not, I actually have enough to go right along this bottom edge, so I was feeling quite giddy about that. So I measured them out. Even if they hadn't went all the way along the bottom edge, I would have still made it work. You know how it is. So I'm just sticking out all my fussy cuts down here. I put the gold up here instead of the bottom. I put the gold to complement, so it looked like it was running along in a line. And then I couldn't help myself. I just kind of slightly touched the stamp up the top. It is coming on now. I'm getting quite pleased. So both sides now I've got that cream rim in it. I'm going back up to fix that in a minute, and I'll show you my fix for that. And then we're going to put the stars on it, add a bit of gold, and we're done. Be on to sealing and staging and happy days. Okay. Okay, so I've got a little stamp here. It's from one of the IOD Christmas ones. I use it all the time when I'm looking for stars. I'm going to be putting lots of different size stars on, but I thought I'd start with this one. And this isn't like the star that's in the paper. The one that's in the paper is only got kind of like 4 little points, because I drew them. So so I need to kind of recreate my own stars that are in my paper in a minute, and I'll do those in gold. This was the little bit of gold that was on my mix mat with some of the old ochre, which is the cream, and it's gave me a sort of buff colour. Buff, man.
Buff.
That's what I'm saying. Beige. Yep. Don't even like beige.
Don't even mention that word.
No, it's a horrible word. Right. Okay. There we go. Now, I'm just kind of, again, this is all positive and negative spaces, and how you kind of like decide to, you know, put it all together. I mean, I'm going to fill this with little gold stars now, so I don't want too many big ones. I just want enough to kind of, you know, when they're spaced out. I think maybe one here in this gap. I've done 2 on the bottom. I just wanted to test out if I was happy with the star. I've got a smaller version of this little Christmas star as well, but
somewhere
can't find it. It's probably in, because I had lost this size star for ages. It was in my seaside stamps. I obviously thought it was a starfish when I put it away. So it's probably in with the seaside stuff if I really wanted to go and look. There we go. Yeah, so I'm quite happy with that. Like, let's get a little script brush, which I should have already had, because I knew I was going to do this in a minute. But you know, it's always good to be organised. So I'll just put some of the gold in my lid. Now you could use gold Poscas for this, but I've got this here. So let me just check my stars again. Yeah, right. Okay.
Oh, sorry.
What are you doing, Matt?
Messing up my light levels.
Oh, never mind. They've had a whole thing of me and Daisy yesterday. I think this is going to complement the big ones, so that's just like a point and another point. Oops. And hopefully you'll do a better job than me. Point. and a point. And I'm going to do these in various sizes now. So I'm going to get on and do this next. Then what I'm probably going to do is get some of the blue paint and run it along this edge to tidy up that transition. And then we'll be working down the bottom where I'm going to put some gold stars on it, and we will be just about finished. So I think probably I'll be only back one more time, but it's been a whole thing.
It has.
Okay. Okay, so that's the top. Apart from that top ridge I've got to fix, and I'm going to do this band under the cream here, gold. That's still got to be done. I'm working back down onto here now. So what I've done is I've ran the gold paint. I don't know what I used to paint it with. Maybe it was this. I've got many golds on the go here. Yeah, this in here. Did I take it right off the edge? I did. Sometimes I forget what I've done. So you can see what I'm doing with my gold. It's because there's not a huge amount happening, to be honest with you, on the drawers. So I thought I'll give them something a bit more of a zhuzh. I'm not at a great angle for this. It was so much easier when I'm standing up, but I'll get that to in a minute. You know that gold line's coming across here. Second thing is I'm going to paint in my knob gold. Yeah, you give them a show, Martin. I was laughing at the video footage from yesterday. I said to Daisy, now just show them up above. But she never moved the camera. But later on you did get it. So I thought, oh, well, you know. Right, so I'm doing that. And what I'm going to do is see these little grooves. I'm going to paint in here gold as well. So I'm going to get to that in a minute as well. But it's just so you don't miss anything. I just want to add a little bit more bouginess to my drawer, really, to be honest with you. If I'm honest, it just was a little bit kind of, I thought, I could do a bit more. I've not got the right brush for this either, so I'll kind of change brushes when I go to do it. So these are going to be gold, and there's going to be gold. I've done the pull on that, and I've done the gold here. Looks like I've went up against that. Right, okay, so you know that's happened. I painted in these little wooden... what are we calling these, Martin?
Fake rivets.
I've painted in the fake rivets gold. I wasn't sure what their technical name was, right? And I've done the gold on the hinges, and all I did was just run my gold paint down it. I didn't make it my life's work, to be honest with you. This piece has been an awful lot to it. So we know what we've got to finish on the sides. I'm not going to show you me painting that gold and fixing the top. It's just I'm just going to run paint along them. What now do I need to do? I'm going to take my Stays On ink pad, and I'm just going to do some gold here, on here, and here, and here, and here. And why am I doing this? Because it makes a nicer, neater job than painting it in, I always think. I'm just adding a little bit more interest.
A bit more zhuzh.
Yeah.
A bit more bling.
Yeah, I think that's probably enough of the gold. I still have to do this side, but it's just the same way. I'm just running it down all my seams. And that'll just kind of highlight those. Now, we know what I'm doing there. Last but not least, let's get some little tiny stars on here. So let's just paint them in. And it's just the same deal. I decided when I was doing up the top, an easier way to do it is a sort of kind of diamond, something stuck to my brush, and then do 2 points. And that just pulls in what I've done at the top. Now, I understand, because I was speaking about this yesterday, Made by Marley paper has all these options. You don't need to paint the furniture white. The new papers come with the drawers. So the one with the smaller form, Dragonfly, if this had been a smooth drawer, I'd have put those along there. The drawer thing I think is really handy, because I often think, you know, if only we had something that was just for drawers. So I've made that. But I understand I kind of take it maybe sometimes to a level that you don't need to go to. But if you're just a beginner, just start, as I said yesterday, just if it's a front of a cupboard, just put your paper on the front of your cupboard and paint round it. And you'll be, or do it the opposite way, paint your furniture and put your paper on it. It's really easy to apply. It doesn't give you wrinkles as long as you leave it alone once it's applied, because it does wrinkle, because obviously when the paper gets wet there's moisture and it has to go back down. So, you know, rub it, make sure there's no wrinkles, and then just leave it and you'll have a really good experience. And that is why I decided when I wanted to design decoupage paper that I wanted the paper more robust so that people could do that. And I think I proved time and time again you can blend it. So it's a win-win situation, I think. So getting a sore throat with all this talking. Right, that's it. I'm not coming back on. I'm not coming back.
That's it. I'm not coming back.
I'm not coming back now. I think you've seen everything that you could possibly see on this piece of furniture, and I'll get it sealed, and then we'll get to staging it out. Okay. Okay, so it's finished. What did we do? We did a little bit of everything, really. We used the new Made by Marley Moonstruck paper, and we ripped it for borders around the back. We applied it cut into the apertures. It's up the sides, and I've also fussy cut out dragonflies and different shapes to finish off the piece. That's why Made by Marley is really versatile, because you can get lots of different things. It comes in lots of different patterns. I've now designing it so that there's drawers. You cut one sheet in half and you can cover drawers. So it's a good one. And if you like Moonstruck, there's a link in the below description box where you can take you to the paper. What else? That's it, really. We're now at 9k, so if you haven't already subscribed and you don't think I'm that awful, then please consider doing so. Give us a like, give us a share, give us a thumbs up, and leave us a comment. And Martin, do you have anything to add?
Not today.
He's nothing to add today, although he does like this one. He's not got a mic
I
on.
love this piece. I really do love it. I would like to keep this one, but I don't have a microphone.
You're not keeping it.
I don't want to shout at you.
He's not got a mic. Okay, so
I don't have a microphone.
he doesn't have a microphone because I went over to the house to the
over
toilet,
there.
and while I was over there, I took my hoodie off and it was clipped onto that. So my one's over in the house too. He's very kindly and very generously gave me his. Right, okay, now they know. Right, okay, bye-bye. Bye.